So in the last chapter, we have created an inquiry in the system. And that was this slide over here. So we know the transaction code that we need to use to create this inquiry, and what are the different steps and the different data points that we need to enter to create this inquiry. In this chapter, we're going to create a quotation. Now, we already know the theory behind the quotation from this slide. Now, we're going to create that in the system. Now, from a hands-on perspective, there are two ways to create a quotation. Or, in fact, if you consider inquiry and quotation, creating an inquiry is the first starting point in this case, and quotation is the second step. So this is the first step, and this is the second step. So this is called the previous document or the current document, and this would be called the subsequent document, which kind of makes sense, right? So the first step was inquiry, the second step was quotation. So from the perspective of creating an inquiry, you can call this either a previous or current document, and the quotation is created after the inquiry, so it's called a subsequent document. Now, if you are creating a quotation now, this becomes the current document, and this, in that respect, becomes the previous document. So why am I saying all this? When you are creating a document after another, SAP gives you two ways to do it. One is called creation with reference. Creation with reference. Another way is to create standalone. So why would you want to probably create it one way versus the other? The reason is, if you look at our theory, you know that most of the data here, see, the bulk of the data here, like the line items, prices, quantities, dates, or even customers, all this stuff is just replicated over here. So data is just copied over. Copied over. So if you are copying so much data anyway, which means that the data is going to remain the same, there's no point in creating it again from scratch, right? You don't have to enter the customer number again. For example, there's Walmart here that you've already entered, and then you have entered some materials, say desktop, laptop, and so on. Now, why do you have to enter all of this stuff again? Instead, SAP allows you to create with reference. So when you create this quotation, you refer the quotation, and all the data over here will be copied over for you. Makes your life easy, right? So let's do it in the system, and I'll show you both ways to do it. It's really very simple. So we can do it either way. We can either use the transaction code or use the menu path. The transaction code for creating a quotation is VA21. You can either use that, or as usual, go to the menu path, logistics, sales and distribution, then sales, quotation, create. All right, let me double click this, or let me save this path. Okay, so step number 1, number 1 is create quotation using either the T code. T code stands for transaction code, either the T code VA21 or use the menu path. Logistics, sales and distribution, sales, quotation, create. So that is step number 1. So step number 1 is easy, right? So step number 2 is enter some data. So double click this and you'll have to enter some data here. Remember when we were trying to create an inquiry, we said we have entered a inquiry number and then some org level details. You have kind of gone through it in terms of what they really mean and why you're entering that stuff. So in the same way, for a quotation, you're going to enter QT. That's the quotation type. There could be many different kinds of quotations: service quotation, repair quotation, or a sample quote, or a trial quote. It depends on why you want to do that quote and how different do you want that quote to be from the standard quotation. Depends on the business scenario. So we're not too worried about it at this point. We're going to revisit this topic when we come to the document types. So until then, just use QT. And for sales org, I'm going to just use 1000, 10, 00 and hit enter. All right, now this is one way to do it. Okay, so what were the steps that we have followed? I'm going to go back. I'm going to just copy this stuff here. And step number 2 is enter the details. So the details that we're entering here is the document type. So what kind of a business process is this? And of course, org data like sales org, distribution channel, division, whatnot, right? At this point, you can do two different things. One, create with reference, and another, create standalone. If you want to copy things from the previous document, which is an inquiry, you follow this path. If you want to start all over from scratch, follow this path. This path is relatively straightforward. All you have to do is just hit enter and start entering the customer, the materials, quantities, days, all of that stuff again. But if you want to follow this path, the way to do that is click on this button. It says create with reference. So what does this create with reference do? You click on this button, it brings you a pop-up that says, hey, you know what? You can create with reference to an inquiry, and as long as you know that inquiry or if you can pull that inquiry and click copy, SAP is going to copy all the stuff from the previous document, in this case inquiry, to the quotation. So let me again take a quick screenshot here, right? And so this is that. So if you are creating something with reference, this is your button. Click on that. This will open a pop-up where you need to enter the previous doc in this case an inquiry, and then click the copy button. Now there's another button here called item selection. We'll talk about it later. Now we don't know the inquiry number here, right? Well, I might have done this inquiry yesterday or 10 days before, right? Walmart has approached me 10 days prior, and I don't know that inquiry number, but I know that I've created it, say, a couple of days before, or I know that a person by name Siva has created this inquiry, because it's not me who is always sitting at the quotation desk, right? It could be some other person. So as long as we have some parameters, like who created it, when it was created, who it was created for, we can pull up that inquiry and put it here. So you don't need to note it down or remember it. That's my point. All right. So click here. Let's say we don't remember the inquiry number. Click there. And these are all your different search criteria. You can use this, or this, or this, or any of these different search criteria. Let's just follow this. Sales document according to customer PO number. So it was created in 1000 sales org, and we know the customer it was created for, it is 1000. Okay, and who created it? Created by I have created it. When did I do it? I did it a couple of days ago, but that's fine. Let's just go ahead and see if we get some documents, some inquiries with this set of properties. Click OK. All right. Looks like this is the one that we have created. We have created it on whatever date, and just select that and click OK. So it's pulled up that inquiry, and you click copy. Now you can click copy, or you can do an item selection in case you want to only select some items. Like if there are like 10 items in the inquiry, and you only want to select like first 3 items or 5th, 6th and 7th item, you can do this. But if you want to bring in everything, then you can just click the copy button. Like I said, you can select the different line items. In this case, there is only one, so no point coming here. We would have just clicked the copy button. But if there were 10 items, you can come here and then use this checkbox to select 1, 2, 5, 7, or whatever line items you want, and then click copy. It's a way of selectively copying items from the previous document to the current document. All right. So you see, all the stuff is here. Your customer, your material, your quantities. You're not entering any of that stuff again. It's already being done for you through the copy function. And we need to put in some more details, but I'll let the system take care of it for now. I'm going to just save it. Oops, we got a pop-up here. What does this pop-up say? This pop-up says that the document is not yet complete. Well, you can save it, or you can choose to edit it right now and complete that document. If you remember, one of the differences between a quote and an inquiry is a quote needs a validity date, like how long it's valid. We didn't enter that stuff. We just copied it over from the inquiry, and the inquiry did not have the validity date. So it's saying the document is incomplete. But it doesn't say which part of it is incomplete. It doesn't say that the date is not there, or it doesn't say any of that stuff just yet. Now you can just click save and everything will be saved for you. You can go back later and edit it, or you can just say edit and it will take you to a list of fields that are really missing. In this case, we're only missing one field, which is the quotation valid to date. You can select this and click on complete data, or you can just go back using this button and just put this date. So select this and put a valid from date, which is like say from today, and enter a valid to date, which is say 1 week from now. Right now, click save again. Okay, that's it. Our quotation has been created. Right, this is the quotation number 200041, and we are done. All right, so let me just quickly summarize what we have done here. So we have seen that an inquiry can be created either standalone or with reference. That was our first learning. The second learning is we have understood that the concept of a previous document, current document, and the subsequent document. The third concept is we have understood why we need to create with reference. The concept of data being copied over from the previous document to the subsequent document. Number 4, we followed the steps that are required to create this quotation. So the transaction code or the menu path that is required to create this quotation. Number 5, how to create with reference. And the pop-up that comes up, what you need to put in, what is the search criteria, so on and so forth. And we have created the quotation and saved it. So that's how you create a quotation. In the next chapter, we will talk about creation of a sales order. We'll first discuss the theory, and then we'll move on to the hands-on for creating the sales order. Okay, see you in the next chapter.